Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. This is your astrology horoscope for the new moon in Capricorn, which happens on Tuesday, January 12th, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time or 8:59 p.m. Pacific Time, depending upon which part of the country or really the world that it is that you are in. Now, what I think this new moon in Capricorn is really all about is that it's about us, don't want to say being chastised for our inability or failure to act in the past month, 2 months, maybe even 3 months, to bring new and better situations into our lives that are now available to us, and us feeling upset and anxious as a result, and possibly even acting out in weird ways. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I will say this is a hard new moon, and I do have a little bit of a hard message to share here. So please watch at your own risk, because this is going to get real serious, a new moon in Capricorn, real fast. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to hop right into it. So what I'm going to do first to ease our way into the seriousness before it gets deep is I'm just going to place where the new moon is on the chart. First, just so that you can see it. The new moon is right here at 23 degrees Capricorn. How do I know it's a new moon? Because we've got the moon here and the sun both conjunct at the same degree and the same sign. Okay. What are new moons all about? New moons are all about new beginnings or fresh starts, where we put our attention on a new theme, a new area of our life, or just something else that needs to be worked out in order for us to grow and to progress. What are we beginning at this time or moving towards? Well, to put it in the nicest way possible, before I get to the serious stuff, this to me is a lot about a new start to Capricorn manage. To me, Capricorn's like the sign of business management, to like manage things in our lives better. Another thing that Capricorn is about, being an earth sign, is also about structuring things in our lives that it is that we need. Another thing to me that Capricorn is also about what? Getting a good result, doing our best to manage and structure things in life so that we can get a better result in life. And also Capricorn put our life in a better place or a better direction. So what I think very broadly about what's going on at this new moon in Capricorn with that information that I just gave you is that we're putting more focus or renewed focus, especially if we haven't been thinking about this in a while, on how we can manage and structure our lives better to put our lives in a new and different direction that's going to get us a better result, a more powerful Capricorn, a more successful result over time that we need in order to feel like our life is moving forward. Okay, why is that a theme now? Maybe before I give you even more details about this new moon in Capricorn, I'm just going to go back for a minute to give you the context. Why are we doing this now? In order to give you that context of this new moon in Capricorn, I do, however, want to go back. I actually want to go back to the last new moon, which happened about 4 weeks ago now, because that was a really, really big and I think rare moment in the astrology, because it was also a solar eclipse right here in Sagittarius. Okay, and that new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius about 4 weeks ago now was about us stepping into a major solar eclipse, new Sagittarius, blessed, better chapter in life that's going to be with us, I think, for the next 3 decades, especially after spending all last year, 2020, and many years prior, overcoming old, hard things in our lives and dealing with the emotional junk in order to get rid of that stuff with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter happening all last year, okay, and before that even. And because 4 weeks ago, we now stepped into, because 4 weeks ago, we stepped into a major, new, blessed, better chapter of life in order for us to move forward, overcoming finally old hard things that have kept us stuck for months and years. We now, new moon in Capricorn, are trying to manage and structure this new chapter in life and these new blessings that are now here so that we can take them further, see our lives succeed more, put our lives in the better direction, become more of the person that we want to be, and find more success and power with these new and better things from here on out. Okay. that's going on. That's some of what is going on at this new moon in Capricorn. Okay. But even though that is true, even though that's true, I mean, that is a typical new moon in Capricorn, there are some really hard aspects that this new moon is making that I do want to talk about now. What are those aspects? Well, there's one major one in particular that's going on that's a little bit rare, and that's a big one. It's going to be Mars over here in Taurus at the time of this new moon, making a square over here to Saturn in Aquarius, which just recently moved into Aquarius, while it's about to come into a conjunction here with Uranus very close by to Taurus, okay, which is in Taurus. This is a very hard alignment at the same time that there's that new moon, which I just described kind of neutrally. Why is this a hard alignment? It's hard because Mars doesn't like to be in Taurus. Mars likes to be in Aries, where it's at home. It doesn't like to be in Taurus. Okay, so because Mars is now in a sign where it doesn't have dignity, or where the dignity that it has is not good, it doesn't function as helpfully or as easily as it would otherwise. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge about this alignment is that it's in a square, which is a hard aspect to Saturn, a hard planet, which is also the ruler of this new moon in Capricorn. Okay, Saturn is a planet of restriction, of hard things that's going on here. So we've got Mars. Maybe I should say this. Another hard thing about this alignment as well is not only that Mars is in a place it doesn't like to be, making a square, a hard aspect to Saturn, a hard planet, but we've also got Mars about to come into a conjunction with Uranus, which also does not like to be in Taurus, has bad dignity, if you will, in the sign of Taurus. It also doesn't want to be here. So you've got Mars, the planet of action, of drive, of getting things done, in a really bad place, poor place, with a lot of pressure put on it, which is a bit of a challenge. What kind of pressure is this? Mars, again, the planet of action, the planet of getting things done. So what we've got here with Mars making the significant aspect is us wanting to do things here to continue to structure and manage our lives, the new blessings that are here that we've been working to get to all last year, to manage and structure all of these things, to put them in the right direction, and us having problems doing Mars, doing that, doing the managing, doing the structuring, doing the bringing of things together. Why are we having problems doing that? And mostly the problems with the doing is because Mars is in Taurus, having problems doing that in the ways that we need. And I should say, and doing that with Saturn in Aquarius, and doing that in a way that's going to get us a better future, Aquarius, a better future, and to open up new possibilities and new doors to us, even more so than what has already been previously opened up to us in the weeks and month or 2 or 3 before this point. All right, now why? Maybe that's what I should say. Why are we having problems now doing? Why are we having problems doing the managing and doing the structuring of a new blessed chapter in life that's here, that's supposed to be a good thing? Why are we having problems doing that and accessing more fully the beautiful future that is there for us? Well, a few things, but to me, that perhaps comes back to Neptune at the time of this new moon in Capricorn, making a square with the nodal axis, which includes the south node here in Sagittarius and the north node here in Gemini. Okay, when planets square the nodes, they do tend to maximize that planet that is being squared, for better or for worse, until we learn to work with it in a better way moving forward. What is Neptune about? Well, Neptune, I should note, I also typically do interpret in a more challenging way, especially when it's in a kind of ambiguous or weird alignment. I typically interpret Neptune in a more challenging way because it is a planet that's further out from our home, that's further out from Earth, because it's further out and it functions in a different way. It's harder for us to make sense of and to logically understand. So this, to me, I'm also going to interpret as a little bit more of a challenging alignment that is important with it square the nodes to our fate, to our destiny, to us either moving forward or falling backwards. And what is the challenge here that's going on, preventing us from doing what needs to be done to structure and manage the new life and to see more possibilities and a better future open up with it? Neptune. What is Neptune about? Neptune, to me, is a lot about sadness, is a lot about confusion. In a lot of ways, it is a lot about exhaustion. So what is stopping us from moving forward, doing the things that we need to manage and structure this new life, is us being sad or confused or exhausted about what we are stepping into exactly in order to move forward, and also about what we have come out of, the hard, challenging, crappy, karmic times that we spent all last year down on ourselves trying to get out of. It's us still stuck in that. And I don't think, my personal opinion, seeing a new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius that happened 4 weeks ago, my personal opinion is that the confusion and the sadness and the exhaustion that we're feeling about some new chapter in life that's preventing us from acting is not an external situation, okay? Because things, in my opinion, in the astrology really are looking up and really are looking better. So what I think the sadness and the confusion is about, it's not an external thing. We got rid of that stuff. The hard external stuff we got rid of that new moon in Libra. We got rid of that last October, or right around that time. August, September, October, we got rid of that. So in my opinion, the sadness and the confusion that we're feeling at this time that's preventing us from doing what we need to do to get our life in order is not an external thing, it's an internal thing. It's the emotions, it's the fear, it's the phantom fear of things that are no longer here. It's the self-sabotage because we're thinking that the future is going to be like the past when it's not. It's the shame, it's the guilt, it's all of that junk inside ourselves that should have been thrown out when the crappy situations were, that should have ended when the relationship ended, that should have ended when the job ended, that should have ended when all this other stuff didn't work out for you back in all of last year, August, September, October, that we didn't get rid of the emotional baggage that is now too much. It's too much. That's preventing us from moving on. Do I think we've been working that out? Maybe that's another point I should know. Yes, I do think we've been working that out. I think we've been trying to work out the self-sabotage, the shame, the guilt, even the lack of faith that we're feeling. I think we've been trying to work that out over the course of the past 2 or 3 months. Since that new moon in Sagittarius, and maybe a little bit before. I guess 2 or 3 months is a little generous. So I think we've been trying to work that out. Maybe the past 2 months since the new moon at Sagittarius especially. Okay, I think we've been, sorry, I kind of had a little bit of an argument with myself there, but I think we've been working the self-sabotage out. We've been trying to get rid of the shame, the guilt, the beating ourselves up, the fear from the past that's kept us stuck in the past month or two. And I think we have in some ways gotten rid of a lot of that junk, but with Neptune still in the square to the nodes, with this really hard alignment but with Mars, Uranus, and Saturn, and also with the new moon conjunct Pluto, let's not forget that, there's still some of the self-sabotage, still some of the shame, of the guilt, of the doubt, of the fear that is still lingering within our soul that we have not cast out. Still part of the enemy, the devil, the old stuff that we have not cast out, that this new moon is really putting a spotlight on, that this new moon in Capricorn is really putting a spotlight on to say you've had every chance to succeed. To say you've had every chance to succeed since that new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius a month ago, and I think since that new moon in Libra 3 or 4 months ago, to kick old things and to step into blessings, new chapters in life, and you have not done it. You have not done it. You had every chance to do it, and you didn't do it. You did it a little bit, sure. Yeah, you did it a little bit, right? That's the thing with the square to the nodes. You know, I follow evolutionary astrology. That's the branch of astrology that I gravitate more towards. And in evolutionary astrology, the one by Jeffrey Wolf Green, that's the one I prefer. There's another one too. Jeffrey Wolf Green teaches that when you have a square to the nodes, sometimes what happens is we do things halfway. It's a skipped step. He calls the squares nodes a skipped step. So we skip the step, you know, which is what Neptune is between the nodes. So what's going on now at this new moon is saying you have A new chapter has arrived that's been waiting for you to seize it, waiting for you to grab it so that you can move it forward, and you haven't done it. Okay? You haven't done it in order to move forward because you've been sad and confused here about your, not about actual situations in life, which are good, but because of internal stuff. And you've kind of worked that stuff out, but you haven't fully done it, and it's keeping you stuck. And it's this new moon in Capricorn giving a wag of the finger. It's the new moon in Capricorn showing the sign of disappointment. Because Capricorn, sure, has a lot to do with structure, has a lot to do with managing things. Sure, I said all that. But the other side of Capricorn is that it's ruled by Saturn. And what is Saturn? It's the planet of restriction. It's the planet of hard lessons. It's the planet of maturity. It's the planet of growth. It's the planet, one of the planets of karma. I think Pluto also has to do with karma, which, funny enough, the new moon is conjunct. Okay, but Saturn also has to do with karma. And I get the sense that this new moon in Capricorn is Saturn, like Father Saturn, you know, wagging its finger and said, I gave you every single chance to succeed. I gave you every single chance here to come out of this stuff from the past, to come out of this junk of 2020, this junk not only of 2020, but that's persisted for many years prior, and for some of you, your entire lifetime. I gave you every chance to succeed. I gave you multiple chances. It started in September of last year. You had September, you had October, you had November, you had December, and now you had January. And you didn't take it. And these weren't hard chances. You know, it's Father Saturn, the stern teacher, the hard teacher, karma, hard lessons, saying, I give you every chance, and I give you every chance in a good way. You know, like the new moon in Capricorn is saying, I gave you, you know what I gave you? I gave you a new moon in Sagittarius in order to seal the deal on these new blessings. Sagittarius, one of the happiest, most happy-go-lucky, most playful, most joyful signs. I gave you a new moon in Sagittarius in order to do it. You still didn't take the blessings. The new moon in Capricorn also says, not only did I give you a new moon in Sagittarius, I also gave you Jupiter moving into Aquarius for the first time in 12 years, giving you what? A new vision of your future, a new Jupiter hope Aquarius, with new possibilities, new opportunities, a carte blanche, a fresh start to be whoever you want to be, to create something totally different, and you still didn't listen. And you still didn't do what needed to be done. And not only did I give you that, I gave you 2 weeks ago a full moon in Cancer. Cancer, one of the most sensitive, one of the most softest, one of the most caring, one of the most nurturing signs of the zodiac, the motherly sign of the zodiac. I gave you such a soft touch to do the things you needed to do, to make it easy for you, because I knew how hard you were struggling. I knew how hard all last year was to you. I knew how hard it was last year for your relationship to fail that you thought was going to be with you. I knew how hard it was to deal with a boss at a job that you wanted to be with for years that failed. I knew how hard it was for you to experience rejection by all these people that you tried to give your creative idea to, and that turned your creative idea and told you it wasn't worth it. I gave you all of the chance to create a new home for yourself after the family you were born into abused you for years. I gave you all the chances to do it, and to do it in such a kind, caring way, because I knew you were hurt and I knew it was hard, and you still didn't take it. You still didn't take the chance I gave you. You still didn't do it. You did a little bit, sure. You didn't do it all. And now this is stern teacher, Father Saturn coming in saying, I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you. I really am. Saying, you're late. You're late. You're late. I'm disappointed in you. You're late. You didn't miss your chance. There's still more chances, but if you don't get your act together real soon, they're going to be gone. And someone else is going to come in and get your blessings, or something is going to take what's yours, and it's not going to be yours anymore. And that's giving you that hard message. I almost see To me, Capricorn, I will say Capricorn to me is more of a feminine sign. I personally do see the earth signs and the water signs as feminine and the air and the fire signs as masculine. But there's something about Capricorn to me that can play both sides, that can play both the feminine and the masculine, and that I see as more of a fatherly influence. And that to me has more to do with like God. Like when I think of the presence of God, I will say I think of Capricorn and I think of Aquarius as being like real fatherly, like real godlike characters. And I just get the sense that God is coming down to wag the finger and to say, I gave you every single chance and opportunity to succeed. And now it's not on me. And now it's not on me. I gave you every chance. It's on you. Now it's not on me. I did it. I did my part. I'm God. I did my part. I set everything. I set the home run at the World Series. I set everything up for you and you didn't take it. That's not on me anymore. Like that is on you. You're going to have to face that for the rest of your life. You're going to have to face that for a few weeks to come, a few months to come, a few years to come, that you are not able to get the courage up in order to move forward there. And because of that, these alignments, I should note, Mars conjunct Uranus, square Saturn can bring acting out suddenly and acting out unexpectedly, Uranus, in order to fix that. Not only do we get, so if you can see how this alignment goes, this alignment brings the failure to act when we needed to act, and then the frustration and the mad at ourselves once we didn't act, to unexpectedly get what we didn't do earlier, to unexpectedly get what we didn't do before. Okay, so there's that. Because Saturn, stern teacher Saturn, is wagging the fingers and I gave you the chance to do what you needed to do and you didn't do it and I'm disappointed in you. We now say, crap, I don't want God, I don't want my dad to be disappointed in me. This doesn't feel good. I should have done this earlier. Now I got to get it together. Now I got to get my act together. And we act out suddenly and unexpectedly in order to do what we should have done, to get ourselves in order, to bring more blessings in this new space, or to feel more stable and secure in this new space that we needed in order to move on. Except now we get our blessings, because this is an awkward alignment, right? Mars is in a place it doesn't want to be in with the Saturn stuff, except now, instead of us getting our blessings in a graceful way, except now, instead of us saying, I'm ready for my blessings, it's awkward. There's an awkwardness about it. There's like something just kind of strange about how we go about getting our blessings, because we really missed the boat. We kind of missed our chance. That occurs there, bringing up, do I want to say, a lot of uncomfortable feelings with Venus at this new moon here, making a square over here to Chiron and Aries. Look, it's exact. Venus is about ourselves, our confidence, our self-worth. It's also about relationships. It's also about money. This brings a real hard energy here when it comes to ourselves, relationships, and money, because we didn't do what we should have done then. And now we're having to act remediately in a really uncomfortable, forced way because we didn't learn the lessons. Not only are we feeling insecure about ourselves, but our relationships are pissed. Our relationships are pissed. Well, you should have done this then. Why didn't you do that then? What about now? You know, that you didn't do this. Not on me, that's you. You know, there's a lot of this stuff that's going on as well. And there's some financial stuff too that also is still kind of lingering, that needs to be taken care of as well. That we're now trying to work out to find solutions towards, especially with Venus coming into a trine, also that Uranus and Taurus, that we're trying to find solutions towards. And I want to tell you, I want to tell you that this is going to be easy. Like, I want to give you hope, you know, and I can give you hope, like by us acting out unexpectedly to get the things we should have done that now we're late on. they are going to work. Like, we haven't fully missed the boat. We're close to missing the boat from good things. We're close to missing the boat, but we haven't fully missed it yet. So I do want to give you hope that once we act out to get the things that we didn't get earlier, they are more new things, more blessings, more good things are going to come together, are going to fall into place once we feel more set. But it's harder now. But even though we haven't missed the boat entirely for more new blessings to come to us, there is this sense of it's harder now. Not because it was supposed to be hard. This was supposed to be easy, but because you waited and you hesitated, and now it became hard. And now you have to force things that you would have had more support to do earlier. So there is a little bit of that. And not only is it harder now because we have to force to do things that we wouldn't do earlier, but we've pissed other people off by waiting so long, or by not doing these things that I think is a little bit, or if we haven't pissed someone else off, we've kind of pissed ourselves off for waiting so long that we're now going to have to go back and to deal with, to get ourselves right in a more stable and secure place so that we can move on, more fully sealing the deal and bringing some of these things together. Okay. And I think that's what I'll say there. To not belabor the point and to go back to my regularly timed videos. Instead of taking up an hour, I'll try to keep this one on schedule. So I think that's what I'm going to say. Maybe what I'll do now is repeat before I switch gears and talk about the inside degrees. So I'm going to do that. What do I think this new moon in Capricorn is all about? It's about us trying to manage and structure a new chapter in life that's better for us than what we've experienced for the past few decades of our life, and that's more blessed. So that this new chapter in life can put our lives in a better direction that we feel will get us a better result. But it's about us at this new moon in Capricorn having trouble doing that, having trouble managing and structuring this new blessed chapter in life. It's about us having trouble doing that because we still haven't dealt with some deeply personal emotional issues that are preventing us, that have prevented us from moving forward. We're unable to do that because we haven't dealt with some deeply personal emotional issues, shame, guilt, fear, self-sabotage that's preventing us from moving onwards. And because we haven't been able to do that, we felt stuck. We feel unable to move forward. We feel restricted. We feel chastised by God, by a part of ourselves, by a higher power, maybe even by something out of ourselves about what we've done, that then kicks us into gear, to get the things that we didn't do before that we're late on. But even though we get kicked into gear to do the things we didn't do before, doing them now because we're late is harder than it would have been before, and is more awkward than it would have been before as well. Causing problems with our own self-worth, causing problems with our relationships, causing problems with our money because we're late to the show that we're having to work through and to get and to deal with so that we can move forward. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the inside degrees up on the screen and read those. Those of you who watch me regularly do know that I do like to read those. The inside degrees were channeled, I should say, by Elias Lonsdale. Were channeled messages about what each degree of the zodiac means. And I always like to read some of those to give more information on what this new moon is about. And I've actually arranged it so that I can bring these up on the screen so that you can see them and follow along. Okay, you can buy the book, I should note, to get like a print book to get the inside degrees and read them, but I find them on the internet here. So this is the source that I'm using, and I'm going to read, you can't see my pointer, but I'm going to read 23 degrees Capricorn, which is what's currently up on the screen because that is the degree of the new moon itself. And this is the one that I actually really like. Yeah. So I'll do that now. You can obviously read it with me. It says, the masculine life force brought to its highest expression. The wise, wakeful, fully present activation of the masculine aspect as something to be reckoned with. Formidable and directly impressive. bearing such a pronounced potency of being that one can readily take charge of any situation. Now, before I read any further, there's one thing I should say about this. This, to me, seeing the aspects that this new moon is making, is aspirational. I don't think that we are this. I don't think that we are this like masculine to its highest expression quite yet. I think we're aiming to be that. I think we're falling short of it, and we're aiming to be that. And not only do I think this, we're falling short of it and aiming to be that, but I almost feel like, again, this is like God, or if you don't prefer the word God, like I do, then it's spirit, it's universe saying, wake up, wake up, divine masculine, like wake up, wake up, become this, because this is the solution. This is the solution to what you need in order to move forward. The solution is to be fully present, is to be wise, is to be strong, is to stand up for yourself, is to be there, is to move forward. The solution to getting to fixing the thing that you're late on is not now to wither even further away in the shadows and to just be like, well, I'm late, and this person's going to be pissed that I'm late, and I'm never going to get this thing. The 23 degrees Capricorn to me is saying, you are late. You are late. I am disappointed in you. You should have done this differently. You should have been, but because you didn't do it differently, don't shrink away. Don't shrink away from these things. Stand up for yourself. Answer for what you did wrong. Answer for what you did right, and be there, is saying, this is the way to be here. A karmically well prepared. Well, is there another thought? There's one more thought I want to say. I'm not sure if now is like the right segue into it, but there's another point that I want to make is about the masculine and the feminine. I've said a lot in the past few months, 4 or 5 months, about some weird thing going on between the masculine and feminine energies. I haven't said that just for fun. I haven't said that just for me. I've said that because I really do strongly feel that there's something going on with like a weird chemistry interplay between the masculine and feminine, especially because we had Mars, the masculine planet, in its home sign Aries, retrograde for so long. And another thing that I feel like this is saying as well is not only like stand in your power, like stand in your active, like your power, even if you were late to make up for it, but is also saying as well, is also, do I want to say like kicking more of like the masculine energy on? Like I feel like over the course of the past few months and years, like the masculine parts of ourselves, I mean, this could be a man if you're masculine, but also if you're a woman, the masculine part of yourself too. This to me is also indicating the masculine part of like our souls starting to kick on more, because to me the past few months and years, I don't know if I want to say years, to me the past few months have been more of a feminine time. Mars retrograde, more feminine, with a bunch of like with a bunch of eclipses in Cancer, has been a more feminine time. And so I feel like this new moon is like waking up the masculine parts of ourselves, just being like, come on, where are you? Like, hello, is anyone there? Like, come on. Like, I know, and this new moon is like saying to the masculine, like, I know you've been in a place the past few months that where you haven't been able to function in the way you want to function, or where things have happened to you that haven't been quite the masculine way. And this new moon is saying, now it's time for you to find a new way to be masculine in this new space and to stand in your power, even if it's not where you hoped it would be. So there's another message of that coming too through this inside degree. Is like, sure, you got problems, sure, you're late, sure, you didn't do some things right. Don't shy away from it, because that's the case. Don't shrink away. Stand up for yourself here, in your truth, in your power, with integrity, to answer for what you've done, because that's the way forward. And not only that, but kick on this like really pure, like strong, like masculine sense. Like that's what I love about 23 degrees Capricorn, not just because it's on my descendant. Being I'm a 22 degrees Cancer rising, but I really love it because to me this is like the highest. This is the masculine life force brought to its highest expression. Not the masculine life force that dips out the first sign it gets hard. Not the masculine presence that buries itself in drugs and alcohol and all that. This is a very strong masculine life force. This new moon is saying time for Not only time for you to answer for what you've done, understand, but to tap into this really strong masculine presence and to find your strong masculine, you know, and to accept it, or to find a new way of doing the masculinity that's still strong and that's still present in the way that it needs to be in order for us to move forward, getting things done, you know, making things happen. So something like that. Kicking it back online after struggling for a bit. But it's like a hard, you know, it's a hard start, you know, instead of like this masculine presence, you know, the masculine life force coming back online, if you will, in like an easier way. This is like a, come on, get with it. You know, I almost feel from reading this degree of like a father talking to a son. You know, like I just keep getting that, a father talking to the son here saying, son, you ain't living right. Son, you got to get with it. You got to get your act together here. You know, there's another way to be. There's another way to be there's almost this feeling of, do I want to say like, son, it's time to be a man. Like, it's time to grow up. And it's weird because like I'm a woman and I'm saying that, and I don't like to be a woman to say that to a man. Like, that's not the way that but to me it's not right. This is not me saying it. I really strongly feel this is the astrology. This is God saying, come on, it's time to man up here, time to be a man. You know, it reminded me of, before I finish reading the rest of these inside degrees, it reminded me of this Bible verse. Now, I know some of you aren't religious, which is totally fine. But I have a lot of like a religious background. I tend to be very sympathetic towards religion. So I do of course get a lot of inspiration from that. And the thought that came to me when I was reading these inside degrees and preparing and planning for this video was this Bible verse. I mean, this is one of the most popular verses from the Bible, 1 Corinthians 13, and I like the NLT. And the specific line here was this: when I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child, but when I grew up, I put away childish things. I think the NLT changes man to child, or boy to child, as to where the King James Version, I mean, we can even look at it now. Let's see what the King James Version has. That might have been the better one. Here, let's look at the New King James. Nope, it keeps child. Let's see. Where's King James? Here it is. Yeah, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it keeps. Yeah, so it still keeps the child. Oh, here it is. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understand as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So there's something going on here that's like, and this was, you know, it's like God speaking. It's like, come on, time to be a man, time to stand up for yourself, time to own up for your sins and for your vices and your virtues. Like, time to do it, time to grow up, time to Saturn mature, time to mature, you know, time to put away the self-sabotage, time to put away the ways of acting out when you didn't get what you wanted, when things didn't go your way, and to realize that like there are higher things in life so that we can move on. And I do, there's a really strong sense of that. Like, God saying, no more am I treating you like a child here because I babied you and you didn't listen. Now you got to grow up here and move forward. So something like that. Okay, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. A bit of a tangent there. I knew it was going to kind of take me in a weird direction, but I just had to get that out. Not only do we need to stand up to answer for some things, but there's also something about the masculine parts of ourselves needing to stand up and take its place in a different way than what it had before, but that's still equally masculine, and that's more mature in order to move on. Okay, the next few lines I really liked as well from this degree is a karmically well-prepared, magnificently endowed attainment, the ability to become like a god. Okay, a few things about this, because I get such fatherly, stern father, God vibes from this new moon. Another message that this makes me think of too is that God is saying at this new moon in Capricorn, because I gave you all the chances to succeed and you didn't take them, not only do you now need to answer for yourself, because it's not on me, it's on you that you didn't take these things, but you need to do now what I have done. I'm now going to remove myself from the situation. God's always there. So God's not, of course, going to let us fall, but God's saying, I'm now going to become more distant from the situation because you need to stand in for me. You need to stand in for me because I tried to do things and you didn't take it. You now need to stand in for me to make magic in your own life. God says, I can only do so much for you if you're not willing to do things on your own. So I step back, you stand in for me to make magic happen in your own life. Because I've done everything I could. It says, such intensive awareness of self. There's my dog who says, yeah. Such intensive awareness of self that you know very well that you are standing in for God the Father as a pure vessel. Nonetheless, you are called to become the quintessential higher masculine as completely as possible to the deepest roots of your being in order to make a difference and to bring the shared energy and attention to a focal point of the true central clarity and meaningful direction onward from here. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Arrow, please be quiet. Yeah, so there is something there. I think that's all I'm going to read. I think that's it. I just want to see if I have any thoughts while I shuffle my deck. Yeah, there is something that's saying, you know, it's time to get your act together here. No more, God's saying, no more Mr. Nice Guy. I've done everything that I could to help you out. Now you got to be me. Now you got to stand in for me, for God. You have to maneuver this forward here and to be called to your highest self, the highest masculine parts of yourself that is wise, that is tough, that is responsible, that understands here the right and wrong of what you've done, that answers for it, and that tries to bring the shared energy and attention to a focal point, that tries to maneuver past it, that not only answers for what you've done, but that tries to maneuver it forward, right? I think that's what I'll say there. Now, the card for this time period is the Five of Swords reversed. This is a hard card. I mean, it's a hard new moon, being Saturn ruled. The fives are challenges. You know, whenever you see five in tarot, it always indicates some kind of challenge, some kind of fight, some kind of struggle, some kind of argument that's going on here. And when I see the Five of Swords, yeah, to me, this is a fight with yourself, or it's a fight with another person, which I definitely think could happen at this time, of which around this new moon, lots of fights and lots of struggles here. But with this card being reversed and lots of feeling burnt. I mean, this is a feeling of like struggle, challenge, and feeling burnt at this new moon. Burned by other people because of things they did, and burned by ourselves because of things we did or did not do, you know, like that's another part, you know, another tangent. That's another part of the challenge of this new moon in Capricorn, is that God, or the higher masculine, isn't chastising us because of something we did wrong. That God in the higher masculine is chastising us because of something we didn't do that would be good if we just did it. So another thing going on here is us feeling burned, and is us feeling because not of something bad we did, but because of something we didn't do or that other people didn't do, that's now hard. And the Five of Swords reversed to me is saying, you know, I'm getting a few messages of like knowing when to pick your battles and knowing what to fight for, you know, and I don't mean choosing your battles, like typically choosing your battles. Like sometimes when you say choose your battles, you know, you think of like, I need to figure out what fight to engage in and what fight not to engage in. And in this instance, with what's going on in the astrology, I think some of us, if we really want our blessings, have no choice but to engage in a fight, have no choice but to engage in an altercation. I don't mean fight, maybe fight's the wrong word, have no choice but to engage in some kind of altercation or some kind of confrontation. But even though we have no choice to kind of engage in some kind of altercation, feeling, you know, weird that we didn't come back sooner, we can choose within that confrontation to get those things that we're missing. We can choose what to take accountability for and what to not take accountability for, and what is truly our fault, and to move forward on that with humility, and what not to. So I think that's what this card is saying about this new moon, is that there's going to be some hurt feelings here with you or other people, or people that you've been dealing with, that you've been delinquent on, that they've been delinquent on here, that can lead a sour taste in your mouth. And it's not necessarily to avoid some of those things even more that you've already been avoiding because you haven't done them. The point here is to figure out what accountability you do need to take and what accountability you don't, and to figure out like what sacrifice of your own happiness that you need to make in order to make a wrong a right, in order to fix these things, you know? So this is not to me an avoidance. You need to avoid conflict. This to me is doing conflict with integrity, doing conflict with an awareness of yourself, of your shortcomings, of your truth, and honestly accepting those, even if you have to swallow your pride in order to do it. And that to me is what the higher masculine is all about. Like, to me, in my opinion, and you know, I'm not the expert here on masculine and feminine energies. To me, the you know, a lower masculine is all about pride. My pride's hurt. I can't do this. You know, my pride's hurt. And to me, the higher aspect of the masculine says, who cares if my pride is hurt? This is the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do for me. It's the right thing to do for this person. It's the right thing to do for my life. And I got to do it anyways. So I do feel as though there's something like that. The card at the bottom of the deck is the Two of Pentacles reversed. So there is, I mean, these cards, instability, insecurity, lack of bringing things together here. And I think we're having to deal with the hard emotions and to face them with integrity and with honesty and with presence and with purity and with awareness, instead of hide away from them. And it may be hard. It may be hard. We may feel wrecked and ravaged and uncomfortable, but we're going to have to do it because it's the right thing to do in order for us to move on. And look at that. The next card is the Eight of Wands, after the last one of the deck. And the Eight of Wands is the speed. It's the speed. It's the card of swiftness, of fastness. So once you overcome these pride issues, you know, and these self-sabotage that are still lingering, you know, in order to get these things you've been delinquent on, and to now face the consequences for your lateness, to face the consequences for your fears. Once you do that, which I should note, looking at the astrology is going to take more than this week. It's going to take another 3 or 4 weeks. Once you do that, then things are finally going to move faster in the way that I've been saying they would be if you weren't dragging your feet. They're finally going to start moving faster, with more passion and with more excitement, with you more ready to hit the mark. Ready to hit the mark. This is an Archer on this card, and Archer rules Sagittarius, with you more ready to hit the mark that it is that you need. So I don't want to be hard on you here, but some of you have been dragging your feet on some blessings for no reason. You've been dragging your feet on good things that are going to love you and that are going to heal you instead of hurt you. And because some of you have been dragging your feet on it, now you got to answer for that. Now you have to answer that and come to terms with it and get right with yourself so that you can do what needs to be done in order to move on. Hard, but necessary to move forward, because we don't want to miss this chance. Some people will still miss it, you know, like that's another thing. Some people at this new moon in Capricorn will just say, I can't do it. I'm too late. I got too much pride. I can't go back to these people to ask these things. And you're just going to go without it. You're just going to say, I'm not worthy of it. I'm just going to go without these blessings and live a crappy existence. So it could pass you by. You know, some of us are not going to do this. But I think for those of us who do say, you know what, it sucks, but I need this, I think things are going to turn around in good time here to help you get back on track in the ways that you need. It's just not being afraid. To stand in your power and reckon with some behaviors so that you can move on. So that is your forecast. I didn't end up staying quite close to time like I hoped, but that's your forecast for the new moon in Capricorn. I hope it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, and I will talk to you on the next one.